Hi, I'm Mike Fisher. I'm in the Department of Environmental Sciences and Engineering at UNC, and I wanted to take a little bit of time to thank you very much for including us in the 2021 Innovation Showcase and talk a little bit about WellAware and some work that we're doing with generous support from the C. Felix Harvey Award to advance institutional priorities. So the problem we're interested in addressing is issues of water quality for private well users in North Carolina and beyond. And private well use is widespread in North Carolina and the US. More than 3 million North Carolinians are on private wells, and private wells aren't regulated under the Safe Drinking Water Act, unlike pipe water systems. But they're actually a lot more vulnerable to a couple different types of contamination than community water systems. And that's particularly problematic because while private wells now have to be tested at the time of installation, as of about 2008 and onward, most actually never get tested again after they're installed. And this is problematic because they can be extremely vulnerable to microbial contamination, bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens, particularly during rainstorms and extreme weather events, which are becoming increasingly common. There's also a lot of work here at UNC and elsewhere showing that private well users are more vulnerable to environmental lead exposure, exposure to other contaminants. And lead in particular in private well water can lead to lifelong developmental impairment with really serious consequences for children. And these disproportionately impact rural and disadvantaged communities. And we can see private well use is widespread and heavily concentrated in some communities in North Carolina where 2/3, 3/4 or more of the population may be on private wells. And so what we'd really like is a safe, low cost and easy way of determining whether private well water is safe generally and particularly after extreme weather events, and for taking appropriate action if a problem is detected. And so the solution that we're working on right now is WellAware, which is a free open source mobile application together with a low-cost test kit to provide a simple way for well owners to test their water and get the help they need if a problem is detected. And so again, we take this free open source mobile app, combine it with low-cost validated home test kits, including robust commercially available test products, and use these together with a little bit of machine learning, computer vision, and some simple back-end analytics to help make these tests user-friendly, easier for well owners to obtain, use, and interpret, and link folks up to underutilized local resources to help them take follow-up corrective action if needed, or get additional or confirmatory lab testing if that's appropriate. And as a result, this provides a one-stop shop solution for private well users to get them into an ecosystem where they are empowered to track, improve, and protect their water quality. And this is in contrast to current solutions that all have a couple of limitations. So I think we've all seen ads for free water tests, and these are widely offered in rural areas. And the test is free, but speaking from experience of folks in my extended family who've got these, pretty much every time the test is going to show that you've got a water quality problem that just so happens to be something that the person providing the free test can solve with an expensive piece of equipment that you may or may not need. And so I've had family members be sold $2,000 to $3,000 water softening systems that solved a problem they didn't have without doing anything to deal with risk of environmental exposure from pathogens, lead, or other more serious problems. You also, will see frequently advertised these, everything in one test strips. And, if you're lucky, they may give you decent pH indications, but that's about it. So this one advertises that it's clinically tested and FDA approved. And of course, that's interesting because FDA isn't the federal agency that would be in charge of approving environmental water quality tests if they had any kind of an approval. And again, clinical testing for something that you use on your well, that doesn't really make sense, right? That's not really what doctors do either. And so, these types of things generally tend to be snake oil as well for the most part, and don't provide the kind of reliable, low-cost information that well owners really need. Now, it turns out that there are excellent resources available through state and county health departments, but most well owners don't really know how to get connected with these, and even if they did, it can be costs vary from county to county, but in some counties it can be $100, $200 or more per test, and sometimes they'll charge you that once for E. coli and then another test if you want to know about metals like lead. And so getting the results can be logistically challenging. The results might be confusing, and it's expensive. You know, if I had a well and wanted to get it tested, I'd have to go to my county health department website, then find their environmental health division page, scroll to the bottom, and then I could find the contact and call the phone number during business hours, or reach out by email. And again, the long and the short of it is most wells never get tested. Now, there are services like NC Care 360 that are working to streamline this, and these aren't accessible to individual well users yet, but again, they're working with, for example, Division of Public Health at the state level to try and improve and streamline some of these things. But we think that there's a role for WellAware to help with this as well, to help for North Carolina's 3 million well users, 43 million well users in the US, and billions worldwide, to get free software that can help connect them with easy, robust, and low-cost test kits that can allow them to test their water for the most important parameters, and again, get connected with software that can help them interpret results and connect to available and underutilized local resources to take follow-up action if needed. And again, we're seeing increasing mobile phone penetration, even in the rural US now. Over 70% of adults have smartphones. And as a result, most households on private wells, probably somebody in that household has a smartphone. And if you don't, chances are one of your neighbors does. And so there's a large number of households relying on well water that could benefit from a solution like this. In addition, we think the solution could be useful to primary and secondary students in education settings, and to NGOs and governments responsible for water quality monitoring and surveillance in remote, low resource and emergency settings. And I'd just like to acknowledge our wonderful team here of co-PIs, collaborators, and stakeholders. And in particular, thank NC DPH, which is given us a lot of insight into what would be needed for state and local health departments to potentially be open to embracing a solution like this, so that we can work with them as well as local community stakeholders to make this solution acceptable to users and stakeholders, in addition to the technical functionality, which so far is looking pretty good. But again, the real test is taking this out to pilot in the field, getting real well owners to let us know what it's going to take to give them confidence in the solution, and also continuing to work with state and county stakeholders to see how best we can connect them up with folks who can use the help. I'd also like to thank our wonderful student lab team, field team, and dev team that's worked on building the technology so far, as well as our remote team that's helped connect it up different county environmental health departments in the app. And again, thank the C. Felix Harvey Award for advancing institutional priorities for generous support of this work. If you have any questions, want to get in touch, or if you might be able to connect us with stakeholders, potential end users, original equipment manufacturers, or others who might be interested in helping us connect up resources to folks who could use a solution to this problem, please reach out to me at my email address here, or look us up at wellawarenc.com. Thanks very much.